Welcome to revision week 11. This time we are looking at how data is transmitted on a LAN, a local area network, covering things such as the Ethernet protocol and MAC addresses. And this is paper 1, topic 1.3b. Please make sure you've got your revision sheet 11 with you, ready to write notes and complete. Okay, to start off with, just to remind ourselves, what is a LAN? A LAN is a network that covers a small geographical area, small area of land on a single site, such as a school or home. All the hardware in a LAN is owned by that organization, such as a school. To connect to a LAN, every device needs a network interface card or controller, a NIC. It could be wired or it could be wireless. It's a piece of hardware that allows devices to connect to a LAN network, and it has the MAC address for that device linked to it. In a LAN, we use switches to direct the data. It connects the devices on a LAN and it directs the data. It knows the MAC address of all the devices connected to it, and it directs the data between the devices on the LAN. So very quickly complete the section on the sheet, please. Pause video and then check your answers. Ready? So a LAN, a network on a small geographical area on a single site, and all the hardware is owned by the organization. The switch connects the devices in the LAN, it knows the MAC address of all the devices connected, and it directs the data on the LAN using the MAC address, specifically the destination MAC addresses. And what devices every computer need to connect to the LAN? It needs a network interface card or network interface controller, a NIC. Checking Apple Pen, and let's move on. Okay, so now we know what a LAN is, remind ourselves. We've mentioned MAC addresses. Think about the protocols and the rules of how it works on a network, on a LAN, okay? If we want to send a file, we need some way of knowing where the data is going to. So in a LAN, every device has a NIC, a network interface card, and every NIC has a unique address assigned to it called a MAC address. And that is so the devices can be found and contacted on a LAN or on the network. A MAC address. So what is a MAC address? A MAC address is a unique identifier, a unique address, so a device can be found on a network. MAC addresses are assigned or given to the NIC of a network device, and they are unique and they cannot be changed. On the NIC, they cannot be changed. They are fixed. A MAC address is stored as a 12-digit hexadecimal number, such as the one on the screen there, 988155CD F2F. And it's stored as 6 pairs of hex digits, separated by a colon or a dash, hyphen. Okay, so there's 6 pairs of hex digits, 12 in total. In binary, it's equivalent to 48 binary bits long. So obviously it's much shorter to represent it in hexadecimal, which is why it's stored in hexadecimal. 12-digit hex number separated in pairs. Complete the sheet section on MAC addresses on your sheet, please. Checking your answers. MAC address is a unique address to identify devices on the LAN. It linked to the NIC and cannot be changed, and it's used by switches to direct the frames of data. What format is the MAC address? 12 hex digits, 48 in binary bits, remember, and it's stored as 6 pairs separated by a dash or a colon. And an example of one, any example would be fine, but I should see 6 pairs of hexadecimal digits separated by a colon or a hyphen. And remember, hex digits go from 0 to 9, then A to F. So you shouldn't have any higher than 9 or F in the alphabet on your hex digits. Check Apple Pen. Then let's move on. Okay, So we know what MAC addresses are, but how is the data actually sent on a LAN? Well, every device we know has got a MAC address. They are connected to a switch using Ethernet cables. So, data is broken up into little units called frames. On a LAN, they are broken up into frames. Each frame has information such as the source MAC address, where it's come from, and the destination MAC address, where it's going to, as well as a chunk of data from that file. So the file is too big on its own, it has to be broken up into smaller sections called frames. The LAN network uses the Ethernet protocol, which is the same name as the wire, the cable here, the Ethernet protocol to send the data over a LAN network. Frames are directed by the switches. It's connected to a switch, and the switch uses the MAC address to direct the data. Remember, the switch knows the MAC address of every device connected to it. So the switch reads the frame of data, and it uses the destination MAC address to send it to the correct device. Just like this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. It knows where it's going by using its MAC address. Okay, on your sheet, complete the section, please. Okay, purple pen, ready to add to your answer for anything you might have missed. So they are broken up into units of data called frames. Data is broken up into units of data called frames. The Ethernet protocol is used to direct the data on a LAN. And how does the switch direct the data? It reads the destination MAC address on a frame. It knows the MAC addresses of all devices connected to it, and it directs the data onto the correct device on the network. Checking purple pen, add to your answers, please. And once you're done, let's move on. So finally, let's put this all together. So you know how it works. Final thing to do, I would like you to annotate this diagram to explain all the main things about how data is sent on a LAN, a local area network. Try to include all the key things we've talked about and what are being shown in this diagram. Pause the video, complete, and then check. Okay, hopefully you've paused, hopefully you've written. Checking your answers. Data is broken up into frames. Every device has a NIC with a MAC address. Frames are sent through Ethernet cables on the network using the Ethernet protocol. Switch reads the frames and directs them using their MAC address. And the frames arrive at the device using its destination MAC address, the destination MAC address of where it's going to. Purple pen, add to your answers, please. Okay, final thing as always, go to LearnCodeIn. We are revision quiz 11 this week. Check, correct. You should have 100% correct by the end of the quiz. I will see you in lesson.